I'm Ricky Wysocki, I'm 27 years old, and I've been playing disc golf for 12 years. Well, in Ohio, I grew up in a neighborhood that was close to a disc golf course, and it just so happened my neighbor grabbed some discs one day, grabbed his bag one day, walked to the course, and I just happened to see him out my window. I was like, what's this guy doing? And I saw him do it like day after day, and I'm like, all right, well, he must be doing something cool. He's got a bag, he's going to the park. And so I ended up like kind of following him over there just to kind of curious to see what was going on. And then eventually I walked, as he was going to the course, I was like, hey, what are you doing over there? He's like, oh, I'm playing disc golf. And so he's like, oh, I'm like, oh, I showed interest. So I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. And so I went to his garage. He took me into his garage, and I picked out a DX Rock, a DX Valkyrie, and a putter, and I went out to the course and threw my 50 feet up in the air, and it went right down. I remember my first throw was not great. It was just like what you would expect. I threw it right up in the air and hyzer right in front of the tee pad, maybe 20 feet. So it was that was an interesting first throw. I remember that always. So I've got 6 sisters and me and a brother, so 8 total siblings. And I was the little brother that had all girls, so I harassed them all. I was always throwing stuff at them. I remember one time I was just throwing tennis ball around the house, and I was like, my sister was sitting on the couch, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna throw it right at her eye and hit her right in the eye. And I'm like, oh, there's no way I'm gonna actually do that, right? So me being like, I was like 50 feet away, and I was like in the other room, and I was like, all right, threw it, and I smashed her right in the eye, of course. I'm like, all right. And I got in huge trouble and stuff, and I'm like, all right. And so that was kind of the moment that I was like, all right, well, I got pretty good hand-eye coordination. I know it just sounds bad, like I didn't expect to throw it, hit it right where I was aiming, so, but it was just funny. I remember to this day, like, my hand-eye coordination's always been good for darts, for pool. Disc golf is right there with it, and I think that's why I'm so good at putting. I think I gained a lot in my disc golf game from baseball. I think that just, I played shortstop, so I was always used to scooping ground balls and throwing to first real fast. My arm's like level with the ground like I would a sidearm, and so I did that so much playing shortstop and playing the infield. So I think that it's just interesting the crossover between there, and that's kind of why I've always felt so comfortable throwing sidearm.
And from Campobello, South Carolina, sponsored by Innova, Ricky Wysocki. Please join Ricky in a moment of silence for his sister, Lauren. Thank you. Gentlemen, have a great round. Thank you for being in Emporia for the 2021 Dynamic Discs Open.
I'm feeling good. I mean, a lot of emotions going on with my sister, and having to travel back to see her on Tuesday. It was awesome that I got to see her before she actually passed away. But it's going to be an emotional week for me, and I'm just excited to have my sister looking down on me. And it's just a tough overall situation. And you know, I think disc golf, you know, is my outlet right now, and I think she'd want me to be playing disc golf right now. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm doing what I do best, and she was always supportive of me and my brand and my disc golf career. So she was a huge part of where I'm at today and how I got here. And so you know, she's living on through me and a lot of my other family members. Still thankful to this day that I grew up so fortunate, and the Wysocki family was super supportive of me in disc golf for the most part in my career. I do remember starting off my disc golf career, transitioning from baseball to disc golf. I remember going on tour for the first time. The typical, you know, rookie on tour. I was sleeping in my car, you know, eating off the dollar menu. I wasn't eating steaks and I wasn't eating good. I was, you know, just trying to get by and get myself experience out on the tour. So I took a while for my dad to come around. and realized that, hey, I can make a career out of disc golf. And so I used that as a motivation. So the first year or 2 years, I didn't talk to my parents that much. They weren't really supportive of me making the decision to go out on tour, and I'm only 16, 17, 18 years old. And so I used it as motivation. I was like, hey, I'm gonna go put all my eggs in this disc golf basket, go on tour, and prove to my parents that, hey, I can make it. So I won my first major in 2011, just 3 years after I started playing. So just doing that, it proved to my dad, like, hey, he kind of came around and started supporting me. So that was a big hurdle early on in my career. Sometimes it feels like on tour you're running around with like a chicken with your head cut off, just doing so many things, media, traveling, clinics, practicing for tournaments. Disc golf's taken me all over the world. I've been able to share my knowledge and just travel around. It's been an amazing experience, and I'm only 27 years old. I've got a lot ahead, and I've got a lot more disc golf tournaments that I feel like I can win, and I'm super excited about that.
Wysocki.
Fast forwarding from 2011 when I won my first major to 2016 when I won my first Worlds. It's great looking back on it because there's a lot of building blocks. Just like anything in a career, you're gonna have building blocks, you're gonna have highs, you're gonna have lows. 2014 I went into a playoff. A lot of the disc golf world knows that. Me and Paul Macbeth went into a playoff in Portland, Oregon for Worlds. But we're birdieing, matching birdies. The crowd's loving it. The pressure's mounting on every shot. Every birdie that we're getting is more and more pressure. That 20-footer means so much more every time. So it was a crazy moment. It's almost like a blackout moment in sports. You hear a lot of top athletes say that, but once you get in a certain mode of focus, doesn't matter how many people there. It could be 2,000 people, could be 2 million people. Me and Paul were both in that hyper-focus mode. That was fun for the spectators to watch, and it's a fun mode for us players to get in. So I ended up losing the playoff, getting second, and being in contention for a couple years after that, even up until 2016. 2016 was actually in Emporia. We're here right now in Emporia playing the DDO, so this is a great site to be back at, winning my first Worlds here. I've got a lot of history, got a lot of confidence on these courses, and so I'm super excited to be back, and it brings back a lot of good memories being back here in Emporia. But yeah, my first Worlds was best moment probably in my disc golf career. I think that 2017 was amazing, but that first one just gets the monkey off the back and allows me to sleep at night knowing I'm a world champion and knowing that I can win more in the future because I've done it in the past. All right, making some food. Gonna make some chicken and steak. I like to keep it pretty basic on tour. I just usually eat meat and vegetables, and don't go too crazy. But I like to cook my own food because I know what I'm getting. Nice and healthy, organic. Most of the time it's no added hormones and nothing like that. So we'll go with some cauliflower, maybe, and cut up some carrots. So a little vegetable platter here. Cut up the carrots. Just keep it simple. That's the best way to eat healthy. Just eat wholesome ingredients. Carrots are carrots. Cauliflower is cauliflower. When you start getting ingredients that getting foods that have a ton of ingredients, that's when you start putting bad things in your body. So get some cauliflower here. Yeah, well, the rush of energy from the crowd after I made that putt was awesome. I'm just that shows me that I'm thankful to have the crowds back, and it's awesome to feed off the energy, and it makes you want to make those longer putts and those awesome shots because you want to excite the gallery and feel that energy. So it's pretty awesome, and I'm looking forward to an awesome day tomorrow, and it's going to be a good battle out there. I got Lyme disease in 2019 in Vermont. I remember that was the year that I got the tick, and I was basically just playing through Lyme disease. I couldn't throw shots. I remember throwing like a full power shot, and it went like 350 feet, and I was like thinking my form was bad. I was like, what is going on? Like, I knew something was extremely wrong. And then I started getting these bullseye rashes. And so that's when I knew. I was like, all right, I tried to tap out on the last hole in Vermont, and I was gonna drive home to South Carolina and get healthy. The basket's right here. I literally shanked it like 5 feet to the right. It was like sad. I was like, wow, that's, the crowd was watching me. Anyways, I drove home immediately after that. I was like, I gotta go home. And so I drove 17 hours somehow. I was delusional. Nutritionist got a hold of me, and his name's Drew Detzner, and he's a nutritionist. I still work to this day with him, and he's had Lyme disease for 10 years, and he has a health and wellness game plan and strategy that takes supplements, eats healthy, and he hasn't had a flare-up or anything in 10 years. I would go grocery shopping, and I would text him ingredient lists, and he would text me, hey, this ingredient's bad, this is good. He explains to me on a scientific level why and how these ingredients are affecting the body, why you shouldn't have them. I'm just thankful that I learned that. You know, it took me getting Lyme disease to be able to learn all this stuff. When I felt myself at the all-time low, I'm like, I'm gonna do anything to, you know, I'm gonna be dedicated. So these veggies in here, and we'll go do an ice bath. Chocolate bone broth smoothie and the green tea matcha for my energy during the round is definitely my tournament morning ritual. Oh, we're leaking. Oh. I feel like I'm a pioneer as to, you know, how to treat the body. There's just so much that goes on behind the scenes that allows me to play at a high level. And so diet's just one of them. I mean, doing ice baths after a round. If, you know, this week we got a short week in Emporia. Disc golf's hard on the hips. It's hard on a lot of different parts of the body. If you take an ice bath, it increases your blood flow and increases your recovery time so you're not sore for the next day. If you can do that before the tournament, it's a big advantage. And so I think a lot of top players are starting to realize, like, hey, we don't just show up to a tournament and play disc golf. You know, there's a lot more variables that go into it. And if you're not taking it seriously and treating yourself like a top level athlete, then other people will, and they'll just lap you. I'm using each tournament as a building block. Jonesboro, I'm thinking about Worlds. Texas State's, I'm thinking about Worlds. I learn what I can practice, what I can do situationally better to prepare for Worlds. 25-footer, the final round of a World Championships is so much different than any other tournament. The gallery's there, you know what it means. If I miss that putt down the stretch of a, let's say, Jonesboro Open or a Texas State, I'm using that miss. What can I do better mechanically? What can I think differently on that mentally before I putt to get in the right mindset to execute that shot under pressure? And what are my tendencies when I get under pressure? What do I naturally do? Does my disc naturally hyzer a little bit more, or do I get a little bit more adrenaline going and turn my drives a little bit more right? And so I can play that. I can say, hey, I've been in this spot before. I know what my putt does. I know what my drive does when I get in this spot. And so feeling comfortable under the pressure is the most important thing at a World Championships. And that's why I think that I'm so ready more than ever, because I'm just thinking of every tournament as a stepping stone to winning in 2021. The first world title is probably the best feeling, but I don't know yet. I think that that's yet to come. I could win the third world title and think that That was better than the first one just because of everything I went through since then. I have to wait and see until it happens to tell you how I'm going to react, so I will check back in once I win and know the feeling.
We got to, get the fans riled up. That's what it's all about. It's awesome to get to share that experience with everybody. I think my sister threw that putt in the basket for me, so I was super pumped about that. I want to thank the PDJ. They've been, posting about her. I want to thank Ultra World and Dynamic Disc here at the tournament. They've been, giving me a moment of silence for my sister and really showing everybody what I'm going through this week, and I'm super thankful for that. The disc golf community is awesome, and I wouldn't rather be anywhere else spending this time and this tough time. So they've helped me out a lot, and I'm here doing what I do best, and I'm super thankful for that.
Take a negative and you turn it into a positive, and that's a perfect quote for my situation with Lyme disease. My mental health, my physical health, everything was at an all-time low. My body just wasn't allowing me to play at the level that I wanted to. So there's just so many more things that I'm doing now that I wasn't doing back then that allow me to play at a higher level consistently, and that's the biggest thing, is me being healthy and allows me to keep my body healthy, and as an athlete, that's the number one thing you want is for your body to be healthy and allow you to do what you do best, perform. I think that for me, I just want to prove to myself that I'm back, and I think that's the biggest thing, is I put a lot of pressure on myself because I know how much I practice and train and get myself and my game to the level to where it can win. And so that makes you hungrier, and I think that's what's happening right now, and that's the stage I'm in right now, is I'm super hungry. Making up for lost time kind of thing with the Lyme stuff and everything that's happened. Seems like everything's going good. I've got a lot of good people around me. I've got a tour manager, I've got a nutritionist, I've got my family, I've got Innova being a sponsor and supporting me in that way, and just supporting me through the Lyme disease. And so for me, it's like my way of paying them back. Hey, I'm representing you guys. You supported me through the lows, and I wanna bring you guys tournament wins. I want to bring you exposure. I want to bring you a world championship to the Innova family. This year, I feel like I'm in 2016 or 17 again. I think that I'm in that form to where I can have a season, I can have a Worlds, like I said earlier, that I can win by 5 or 10 strokes, whereas this year's different. I feel like, I'm working on a lot of things, and as a player, you're always growing, you're always adapting, and I'm healthier than ever. I'm eating healthier than I was in 2016. I'm working out more, and so I think that there's a lot of things I'm doing better than I was actually in 2016 or 17, so I think I can, in the future, the next 5 or 10 years, I can be even a better player, and I think that it just goes to show that my work ethic, my determination to, not just on the disc golf course, but the off-the-course stuff affects me directly on the course, and I think that I can pair the good form with the great diet and great health and wellness game plan. And once those get together and get going, it's game on, and I'm super excited to be doing that and showcasing my skills to the disc golf world and showing them what true dedication on and off the course can do. I'm going to Worlds early to practice the elevation, practice the courses. I'm not going to play the Resistance Discs Open, I think is what it's called. And so I'm just going straight to Utah, getting the reps in, and setting my eyes on the prize.